Alright guys, so I'm going to be talking about another topic I just feel really strongly about it, to be honest. Especially for everyday people, for people just trying to manage life, manage life and all of the ups and downs and stresses that comes with it. And this topic, it's so simple, but it's so easily forgotten about when it comes to training, because we feel like training is somehow like outside of everyday life, even though it's very much a part of and is affected by everyday life. So my thinking around this is pretty much that we have to incorporate life, and we have to think of how that day, that week, that season of our life is affecting our training, and take that into account, which is why I really like the phrase train to train another day. Okay, so train to train another day, and it's almost adopting this mindset that we're not just thinking about the workout we're doing and that we're in the middle of, but we're also thinking about how about wanting and being able to train the next day and the day after that, and long into the future with as few hiccups and with as few injuries and problems or issues as possible that would affect our training. So train to train another day is something that I think is so simple, yet often can be totally forgotten about. And it comes along with this whole idea of leaving your ego at the door, and those types of things. So train to train another day. What does that look like? How do we do that? So first of all, when we think about training to train another day, we're going to be thinking about, what did I do over the past week? How is my body feeling? How did I sleep last night? What workout did I do yesterday that could potentially have a knock-on effect to today? Am I sore? Do I already have a pre-existing injury? Are there any weaknesses that might limit my ability in the movement that I'm going to do today? All of those kinds of questions that are essentially going to help you make decisions about the workout you're about to do. So deadlifting, for example, or any heavy lift, right? Deadlift, back squat, bench press, strict press, any of those lifts that's going to put you in a position where you're going to be lifting heavier loading, or any heavy day in for that matter. We want to think about how we can make good decisions around lifting heavy. And what that might be is, instead of thinking, oh, this should be 60% of your 1 rep max, or this should be 80% of your 1 rep max, well, maybe that 80% for that day is actually feeling like your 1 rep max. So how do we train to train another day? Well, maybe we just knock a bit more loading off, because that's how our body feels that day. And it's so simple, but it's so hard to get our heads around, because we want to do the training exactly as it's written on paper, and that can get in the way an awful lot. And I am a massive sucker for this as well. At this stage, I've kind of got pretty capable at a lot of the CrossFit movements, and I've gotten strong where a lot of the time the RX weight is within my ability, but a lot of the time it's not as well. So I really need to, personally speaking, I need to come into the day and think, right, well, how's my back feeling? How's my shoulders feeling? How does an overhead position feel? Does it feel tight, or does it feel open? Does it feel good? Am I feeling ready? And then go from there. And a lot of the time, the warm-up will be the thing that helps us kind of diagnose these little or get answers to these questions that we have going into our training session. So that's one thing that we can do to help us make our decision to train another day. Another thing that we need to take into account is what do we have coming up in the week? Do we have family events? Do we know we're going to have a real busy and stressful week? Do we know, or maybe we're feeling a bit run down ourselves? We've got a cold, we've got some sort of virally thing, or any of the above, where we need to take that into account. If you're not well and you're feeling sick, training to train another day might look like a walk for that day, and that's just it. Every situation is different. Sometimes whenever you train and you've maybe got a bit of a coldy thing going on, the actual training session it helps your body get a bit more blood flow, opens up your airways and things like that, where it does make you feel a bit better. And sometimes training at a slightly lower intensity is exactly what you need for that day. But again, it's being aware, how can I make this suitable to how I personally am feeling, so that I can get the relative intensity that I need to optimize that day's worth of training, so that I can train the next day, the next day, and the next day. Stress is going to be another huge factor when it comes to your training and your ability to train in the long term. If you have a really stressful job, and I know every job is probably going to be stressful at some stage or other, but like the real obvious ones to me are going to be a job that's going to require you to work crazy shifts, like loads of night shifts. Like I know nursing can be pretty rough at times with the night shifts, or if you're in the police or the fire service, or stuff that's going to kind of dictate your routine and put you out of that kind of classic training hours, so to speak, or it's going to disrupt your sleep in any way. That has to be considered, and we have to throw RX out the window when it comes to things like that, because that is how we are going to get injured, because we refuse to deviate from what's on paper. So just keep that in mind. And guys, I want you to think about keeping this mantra in your head of train to train another day, and that will then inform a lot of the decisions that you make moving forward. So I hope that helped. I hope that kind of mindset will be helpful for you in just moving forward with your training. It's maybe something that you already do. I know a lot of you do this kind of thing, just with chatting to you, and but if you find it tough to veer away from what's on the plan and you have to get that thing done, I am that guy. Please know you're not alone, but also for your own physical and mental well-being, sometimes just pulling things back is going to be the best thing for actually advancing your fitness forward. So I hope that helps, and I will speak to you again soon. Bye.